Hey guys, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, thanks. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a chilling new story when it drops. Journal entry day 1. I've always prided myself on being the kind of guy who craves adventure. Trails, too predictable. Mountains, already conquered them. The wilderness, that's where the soul goes to breathe. So here I am, standing at the edge of Halverson National Park, a sprawling ancient forest in the Pacific Northwest. This place has been calling to me for years. It's vast, untouched, and for the most part, unmarked. Perfect. The ranger at the visitor center was a bit of a buzzkill. He warned me to stay on the marked trails, rattling off a list of recent search and rescue missions. It's not just the terrain, he said. There's something about this forest that doesn't forgive mistakes. What a thing to say. He might as well have dared me to stray off the beaten path. I checked my pack twice before heading out. Everything's here. Compass, maps, extra food, and my old guidebook. A dog-eared relic from the 70s. I've marked my route to the hidden waterfall, a spot not found on the official maps but described in the guidebook. According to the book, it's breathtaking, a place untouched by time. It feels poetic, almost sacred. The first few miles were easy, the trails wide and well-trodden. The forest seemed alive but inviting, sunlight streaming through the canopy, the scent of pine thick in the air. I stopped to take a few photos, thinking they'd make great additions to my blog. I wonder how many people have really ventured deep into this place. By late afternoon, I reached the fork where the unmarked trail begins. The sign was old and weathered, almost illegible, but I could make out trail maintenance ends here. Beyond it, the forest thickened, and the sunlight dimmed as though reluctant to follow. It felt like crossing into another world. Journal entry day 2. Last night was my first solo camp in Halverson. I set up just off the unmarked trail close to a brook. The sound of the water was soothing, drowning out the occasional rustle of the forest. I slept well, though I woke up once to the sound of something, probably a deer or a raccoon. I'm not new to camping. Forests are full of noises. Still, it was strange. The sound didn't come from one spot. It felt like it surrounded the camp. This morning I pressed deeper into the park. The trail, if you can call it that, has all but disappeared. The trees here are massive, their trunks gnarled and covered in moss. I stopped to admire one that had to be over 200 feet tall. There's something humbling about standing in the shadow of a tree that old, knowing it's seen centuries pass while you're just a fleeting moment. Around midday, I noticed something odd. A few trees had markings on them, carvings almost like runes. They didn't look natural, but they also didn't seem recent. I took a few photos and sketched one in my journal. They're angular, almost geometric, and arranged in a deliberate pattern. I have no idea what they mean. The guidebook didn't mention anything about carvings. I shrugged it off as something left by early explorers or indigenous tribes. Still, the markings gave me an odd feeling, like they were watching me. I pushed on and set up camp near a clearing. The air here feels different, thicker, heavier. I'll admit I'm starting to feel the isolation. No cell signal, no signs of other hikers, just me and the trees. I'm not scared exactly, but there's a nagging feeling I can't shake. Maybe it's just my imagination. Journal entry, night 2. I can't sleep. The forest is too quiet. During the day, there's the rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, the distant sound of water. But tonight, nothing. No wind, no insects, just silence. When I close my eyes, I feel like something's watching me. I keep telling myself it's just paranoia, that being alone in a place like this messes with your head. Still, I found myself checking the perimeter of my camp 3 times. Nothing out there, at least nothing I can see. Journal entry, day 3. Morning brought a bit of clarity, the light always does. Whatever weird vibes I felt last night vanished with the sunrise. I packed up and pressed on, determined to find the waterfall. The forest keeps getting stranger the farther I go. The trees are spaced oddly, almost as if planted in deliberate rows. I came across another set of carvings, this time on a fallen log. These ones were larger and more intricate, spiraling along the bark like a warning or a guide. I don't know what they mean, but I sketched them anyway. I also found an old campsite, or what's left of one. The tent was collapsed, the fabric rotten. A rusted tin cup sat near the ashes of a long-dead fire. Whoever camped here left in a hurry. Gear was scattered everywhere, most of it unusable from decay. I can't help but wonder what happened. There's no sign of animal tracks or foul play, but the place feels wrong, like it's frozen in time. Tomorrow I'll push on toward the waterfall. I'm close, I can feel it. Journal entry, Day 4. I woke up this morning with a renewed sense of purpose. The forest, despite its strangeness, is still beautiful. The thought of finding the waterfall has been my anchor, a reason to keep moving forward. I'm sure it's close now. The trail, or what's left of it, has become nearly impossible to follow. The terrain here is uneven, the ground covered in dense moss that swallows my footsteps. My compass is still reliable, but I've stopped trusting the map. It's clear that this part of the forest hasn't been surveyed in decades, maybe longer. Around midday I found something peculiar, a single shoe, half buried in the dirt. It's old, its leather cracked and faded, the laces long gone. There's no sign of its owner, no footprints, no other belongings. It's just sitting there, alone, like it's been waiting to be found. I considered turning back, but then I remembered why I came here, to prove something to myself. The wilderness doesn't scare me, at least that's what I keep telling myself. Journal entry, Night 4. The storm hit just before sunset. It came out of nowhere. One moment the sky was clear, the next it was a wall of gray. The rain fell in sheets, turning the forest floor into a slick, muddy mess. I scrambled to set up my tent under the canopy of some massive pines, but the wind made it nearly impossible. The storm lasted for hours, long after darkness fell. The sound of the rain was deafening, and the occasional flash of lightning turned the forest into a surreal, shadowy nightmare. My map and guidebook are both soaked. Even my journal is starting to show signs of water damage. Worse than the storm, though, was what I saw, or thought I saw. During one particularly bright flash of lightning, I caught a glimpse of something moving among the trees. It was tall, unnaturally so, with long, spindly limbs that didn't seem to move like a person's. I convinced myself it was a trick of the light. It had to be. Journal entry, Day 5. The storm has passed, but it's left the forest in chaos. Fallen branches block the trails, and the ground is waterlogged. My gear is damp, and I had to use part of my emergency rations because my food bag got soaked. I spent the morning trying to find my bearings. The map is useless now, the ink smeared beyond recognition. My compass still works, but even with it, I can't shake the feeling that I'm walking in circles. The forest has changed, or maybe it's me. The trees seem closer together now, their twisted branches forming a kind of cage. The air feels thicker, almost oppressive. It's hard to explain, but it's like the forest itself doesn't want me here anymore. I tried retracing my steps, but every path seems to lead me back to the same spot. A small clearing with a single dead tree in its center. The bark is blackened, like it's been struck by lightning, but there's no sign of fire damage around it. The ground here is dry, even after last night's storm. I'm starting to feel trapped. Journal entry, Night 5. I'm not alone. I spent the afternoon trying to make sense of my situation. I marked trees with chalk to ensure I wasn't doubling back, but when I returned to the clearing, the marks were gone. Not washed away, gone. It was late when I decided to set up camp. I didn't want to, but I couldn't keep wandering in the dark. As I was unpacking, I found my chalk tucked neatly into the side pocket of my pack. I know for a fact I didn't put it there. Something or someone is out here with me. Tonight I heard footsteps, not distant, not subtle, right outside my tent, slow, deliberate, as though whoever it was wanted me to hear them. I held my breath, clutching my knife, but they never came closer. When I finally mustered the courage to peek outside, there was nothing. Just the forest, silent and still. Journal entry, day 6. I don't know where I am anymore. The forest has swallowed me whole. This morning I found another footprint. It wasn't like the ones I've seen before. This one was fresh, the mud still soft, but it wasn't human. The print was enormous, easily twice the size of my boot with long clawed toes. I kept moving, hoping to find something, anything that looked familiar. Instead, I found more carvings. They're everywhere now, etched into the trees, the rocks, even the ground. They seem to form a pattern, but I can't make sense of it. I don't think these are just decorations or markings. They feel purposeful, like they're meant to keep something in or out. By midday, I came across an old campsite. It wasn't like the one I found before. This one was intact, as though its owner had left it only yesterday. The tent was still standing, and there were supplies scattered around, canned food, a lantern, a knife. But there was no sign of the camper. The strange thing was the journal. It was lying on a rock, open to a page filled with frantic, messy writing. Most of it was illegible, but I could make out one phrase repeated over and over. It sees you. Journal entry, night 6. I'm losing track of time. The days bleed into nights, and the nights are endless. Tonight I heard it again. Footsteps, closer this time. I didn't bother looking. What's the point? I found myself writing in my journal just to keep my hands busy, to remind myself that I'm still here, that I'm still me. But even that's starting to feel hollow. The forest has a way of breaking you down, stripping away everything until all that's left is fear. Whatever's out there, it's not human, and it's not going to let me leave. Journal entry, day 7. I woke up to find my camp disturbed. My tent was still standing, but my gear had been rifled through. My food bag was torn open, its contents strewn across the ground. It wasn't an animal. The cuts on the bag were too clean, too deliberate. Whoever or whatever did this left no tracks, no evidence, except for a single item placed neatly in the center of the chaos. My compass. It's broken now, the needle spinning aimlessly. I packed what I could salvage and kept moving. I don't know what else to do. Staying in one place feels like giving up, but every step forward feels like I'm sinking deeper into something I don't understand. By mid-morning, I stumbled upon another strange sight, a pile of stones arranged in a perfect spiral. It was too precise to be natural. Each stone was smooth and flat, as though shaped by careful hands. At the center of the spiral was a single object, a bone. I didn't touch it. Journal entry, midday, day 7. The forest feels alive, and not in the way it usually does. It's as though it's watching me, testing me. I've started to notice things I missed before, subtle shifts in the landscape, patterns in the way the trees grow, even the way the light filters through the canopy. It's almost as if the forest is guiding me, or hurting me. Around noon, I found a series of carvings that stopped me cold. They weren't like the others I've seen. These were intricate, depicting scenes, figures kneeling before something massive, something with too many limbs and eyes. One carving stood out from the rest. It showed a figure walking into the forest, surrounded by smaller figures that seemed to blend into the trees. The larger figure watched from above, its many eyes carved in meticulous detail. I sketched it in my journal, but I didn't stay long. The air around the carvings felt heavy, oppressive, as though I wasn't supposed to linger. Journal entry, evening, day 7. I think I'm being hunted. This afternoon I found another footprint, massive and clawed, the same as before. But this time there was more than one. The prints were spaced as though whatever made them was stalking me, moving parallel to my path. I tried to keep calm, to focus on finding some kind of landmark or trail marker, but my nerves are shot. Every sound feels magnified, the snap of a twig, the rustle of leaves, even the beat of my own heart. I set up camp early, hoping to regain some strength before nightfall. I didn't bother making a fire. The thought of drawing attention makes my skin crawl. Journal entry, night 7. It came closer tonight. I don't know what it is, but I saw its silhouette. Tall, impossibly tall, with limbs that seemed to stretch and bend unnaturally. It didn't move like anything I've ever seen. I froze, barely breathing as it passed just outside the circle of my camp. It didn't stop, didn't look in my direction, but I could feel its presence, its awareness. When it was gone, I checked my journal out of habit. That's when I noticed something chilling. One of the sketches I'd made earlier, the carving of the figure walking into the forest, had changed. The figure was no longer alone. Another figure had appeared behind it, taller, looming. I know I didn't draw that. Journal entry, Day 8. I woke up to find fresh carvings on the trees around my camp. They weren't there last night. I'm sure of it. The symbols are different from the ones I've seen before. Jagged, almost violent, as though they were carved in haste. One of them stood out, a circle with a single line slashed through it. It reminded me of a barrier, a warning. I've decided to stop heading toward the waterfall. It doesn't matter anymore. My only goal now is to find a way out of this forest. But every direction feels wrong. The landmarks I've been using to orient myself have disappeared, replaced by others I don't recognize. I've started marking trees again, but even that feels futile. Journal entry midday, Day 8. I found something I can't explain. It was an old rusted gate standing in the middle of the forest. There were no fences attached to it, no path leading to or away from it. It was just there. The gate was covered in the same symbols I've been seeing, but these were more elaborate, almost ceremonial. Hanging from the top was a bundle of what looked like bones, tied together with dried vines. I didn't touch it. I didn't even get close. But as I turned to leave, I heard something, a low, guttural sound, almost like a growl. I ran until my legs gave out. Journal entry, Night 8. I don't think I'm going to make it out of here. I can't shake the feeling that the forest is closing in on me, that it's pushing me toward something. The symbols, the carvings, the spirals, they all feel connected, part of some larger design I can't comprehend. Tonight I saw the silhouette again. It was closer this time, standing at the edge of my camp, motionless. I didn't look directly at it, didn't dare move. Eventually it melted back into the shadows, but its presence lingered. I feel like I'm being prepared for something. Journal entry, Day 9. I'm exhausted. My body aches, my mind is foggy, and I feel like I'm running on pure adrenaline. I didn't sleep last night, not that it would have made a difference. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard it. At first it was just the occasional snap of a twig or the shuffle of leaves, but as the night wore on, the sounds grew louder, closer. By dawn, I was certain of one thing. I'm not imagining this. Something is following me. I packed up camp as quickly as I could and started moving. It doesn't matter where. I just need to keep going. The forest feels different again. The trees are larger here, their trunks gnarled and twisted. Some of them look like they've been burned, their bark blackened and cracked, but there's no sign of a fire. The air smells faintly of ash. I came across another spiral of stones, but this one was different. It was larger, more intricate, with smaller spirals radiating outward like the spokes of a wheel. At the center was something new, a crude wooden figurine, human-shaped but featureless, tied with strips of leather. I didn't stop to examine it. I couldn't. Journal entry, afternoon, Day 9. I've stopped looking for familiar landmarks. I know now that I'm not going to find them. Instead, I've been paying attention to the carvings and the symbols. They seem to form a path, leading me somewhere. At first I thought they were random, but the more I see, the more I realize they're deliberate. The carvings are becoming more complex, almost like instructions or warnings. One of them caught my eye, a figure standing inside a circle, surrounded by jagged lines. It looked like a person trapped in a storm. I don't know what it means, but it made my stomach turn. Journal entry, evening, Day 9. I found another abandoned campsite. This one was more recent. The tent was intact, the fabric only slightly weathered. There were supplies scattered around, a backpack, a canteen, a pair of hiking boots. The strangest thing was the journal. It was lying open near the fire pit, its pages filled with frantic, messy writing. Most of it was unreadable, but one passage stood out. It's not just the forest. It's the space between the trees. That's where it waits. I took the journal with me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I feel like whoever wrote it might have answers, even if they didn't make it out. As I was leaving, I noticed something chilling. The tent wasn't empty. Inside, lying perfectly still, was a pile of clothes, arranged as though someone had been lying there and simply disappeared. Journal entry, night 9. It's closer now. I didn't set up camp tonight. I couldn't. Every time I stopped to rest, I felt its presence, heard its footsteps. At one point, I turned around and saw it. Not the silhouette, but the thing itself. It was massive, its limbs impossibly long, its body twisting and shifting as though it couldn't decide on a shape. Its face, or what I think was its face, was a void, a black emptiness that seemed to suck in the light around it. I froze. It didn't move, didn't make a sound, but I could feel it watching me, studying me. I don't know how long I stood there before I finally forced myself to turn and run. Journal entry, day 10. I've been moving nonstop since last night. My legs are screaming, my lungs burn, and my vision is starting to blur, but I can't stop. I don't know how far I've gone or where I am anymore. The forest has become a maze, the trees towering over me like prison walls. I found another spiral of stones this morning. This one was even larger, almost like a labyrinth. At its center was a crude wooden figure, similar to the one I saw before, but this one had something tied to it, a piece of cloth. It was mine. Journal entry, midday, day 10. I don't think I'm going to make it out. The thing is toying with me, I'm sure of it. Every time I think I've put some distance between us, I hear it again, those slow, deliberate footsteps always just out of sight. I tried doubling back, but it's no use. The forest shifts around me, rearranging itself. Trails that should lead one way suddenly go another. I've stopped marking the trees. What's the point? Journal entry, evening, day 10. I found the clearing. It's massive. A wide-open space surrounded by towering trees. At its center is a stone altar, ancient and weathered, covered in the same symbols I've been seeing. The air here feels heavy, charged, like the moment before a lightning strike. I don't know what to do. Journal entry, night 10. I don't know how long I sat in the clearing, staring at the altar. I wanted to turn back, to run, but something held me there, like an invisible weight pressing down on me. The altar is old, older than anything I've ever seen. It's carved from a single massive slab of stone, its surface covered in intricate looping patterns that seem to shift when I look at them too long. At its base are piles of decayed offerings, bones, scraps of cloth, and what might have once been flowers. There's a deep groove running down the center, stained a dark reddish brown. I couldn't bring myself to touch it. Journal entry, late night, day 10. I wasn't alone in the clearing. As the last light of the day faded, I saw them, shapes moving at the edge of the trees. They were barely visible, more shadows than anything else, but they were there, watching, waiting. I forced myself to stay calm, to keep writing. The act of putting words on the page felt like the only thing tethering me to reality. The shadows didn't come closer, but their presence was suffocating. I could feel them, a growing pressure in the air as though the clearing itself was alive and aware of me. I don't remember falling asleep, but I must have. Journal entry, dawn, day 11. I woke to find the clearing empty. The shadows were gone, but the sense of unease remained. I decided to examine the altar more closely. I didn't want to, but something about it felt important, like it held the key to understanding everything that's happened. Carved into the sides of the altar were scenes, images of figures kneeling before something massive and formless, its many limbs stretching out to engulf them. The figures were detailed, their faces contorted in expressions of fear and reverence. At the base of the altar I found a journal, older than the one I'd picked up at the abandoned campsite. Its pages were brittle, the ink faded, but I could make out a few passages. The forest demands its due. Blood for passage, silence for survival. We are its caretakers, its prisoners. I slammed the book shut and shoved it into my pack. Journal entry, Midday, day 11. The carvings on the altar keep replaying in my mind. I can't stop seeing them, even when I close my eyes. I tried leaving the clearing, but every path I took led me back. I've walked in circles for hours, my legs burning, my throat dry. There's no way out. Journal entry, evening, day 11. Something happened this afternoon. Desperate, I tried destroying part of the altar. I thought maybe breaking one of the carvings would break whatever force is keeping me here. I used my knife to chip at the stone, but it was like trying to cut through steel. As soon as the blade touched the surface, the forest erupted with sound, a low, guttural hum that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The trees shook, their branches creaking and groaning as though in pain. I dropped the knife and stumbled back, my ears ringing. The hum subsided, but the forest hasn't been the same since. The air feels charged, electric, and I swear I can hear faint whispers in the distance. I'm scared. Journal entry, night 11. I think I understand now. The altar isn't just a relic or a symbol, it's a gate, a tether between this world and something else. I've been reading through the old journal. The writer speaks of a ritual, one meant to appease the forest and its guardians. They mention offerings, sacrifices, but the details are vague, incomplete. I don't want to believe it, but the pieces are starting to fit together. The carvings, the spirals, the figures in the forest, they're all connected, all part of some ancient pact. I can feel the forest watching me, waiting for me to make a choice. Journal entry, dawn, day 12. I spent the night trying to think of a way out, but there's only one path left. The journal mentions a blood offering, though it doesn't specify what that means. I've already lost so much. My gear, my sense of time, my sanity. What more can the forest take? I don't know what will happen if I go through with it, but staying here is no longer an option. The forest is closing in. Journal entry, morning, day 12. I've been staring at the altar for hours. This journal's words swirl in my mind like a mantra. Blood for passage, silence for survival. What does it mean? Whose blood? How much? I've tried everything else, retracing my steps, following the symbols, even marking my own path. All of it has failed. The forest wants something from me. I made a small cut on my palm and let the blood drip onto the altar's surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the carvings began to glow faintly, a sickly green light emanating from the grooves. The air shifted, growing colder, heavier, and then the whispers started. Journal entry, midday, day 12. The whispers weren't voices. They were more like impressions, thoughts not my own. They filled my mind with images of the forest, ancient and undisturbed, stretching back through time. I saw people kneeling before the altar, their faces a mixture of terror and devotion. They weren't offering themselves, they were offering others. I saw figures bound and struggling, their blood pooling on the altar's surface. The whispers told me this was the pact. The forest requires balance, life for life, blood for freedom. When the visions faded, I stumbled back, shaking. The glow of the altar dimmed, but I could still feel its presence, a pulse of energy radiating from it. I know what it wants now. Journal entry, afternoon, day 12. I'm not doing it, I can't. The forest is alive, yes, but it's not a place of peace or beauty. It's a predator, ancient and unrelenting, and the altar is its tool. I've spent the past few hours searching for another way out, ignoring the whispers, the symbols, the paths that all lead me back here. The forest seems to sense my defiance. The air is thicker, harder to breathe. The shadows are darker, moving faster, but I won't give it what it wants. I'd rather die than become part of its cycle. Journal entry, night, day 12. The forest has turned against me. The temperature dropped sharply as the sun set, the kind of cold that bites through layers and settles into your bones. The whispers have grown louder, more insistent, and the shapes at the edge of the clearing are back, closer than ever. They're not just shadows anymore. I can see their forms now, twisted, elongated figures with hollow eyes and mouths that gape unnaturally wide. They don't move like living things. They glide, jerking and twisting as though their bodies are fighting against the laws of nature. I tried running, but no matter where I go, I end up back at the altar. It's as though the forest is folding in on itself, trapping me in this one terrible place. Journal entry, day 13. The whispers finally told me what I need to do. It's not just blood. It's a life. I have to make a choice, my own or someone else's. The journal mentioned something about caretakers, people who remain in the forest to uphold the pact. If I give myself to the altar, I'll become one of them. I'll never leave this place, but the forest will let me go, at least in some form. If I choose someone else, the forest will let me leave. But I don't have anyone else. Unless... Journal entry, afternoon, day 13. I found the old journal's final page. The writer had faced the same decision. They chose to sacrifice someone else, luring another hiker into the forest. The whispers guided them, showing them how to use the carvings to summon and trap their victim. The last line chilled me to the core. The forest never forgets. It always takes its due. That's why I found the journal, the campsite, the spirals. They were left as bait, breadcrumbs leading me here. I'm not the first, and I won't be the last. Journal entry, night, day 13. It's over. I made my choice. I don't know if it was the right one, but it doesn't matter anymore. The forest went silent as I approached the altar, my knife in hand. The carvings glowed again, brighter this time, as though the forest knew what I was about to do. I placed my hand on the stone and whispered the words that had been echoing in my mind since I found the journal. The forest responded, a low guttural hum that vibrated through my bones. I offered myself. The pain was immediate and overwhelming, like every nerve in my body was on fire. The last thing I remember is the forest erupting into light, the shapes at the edge of the clearing converging on me, and then nothing. Journal entry, day 14. I'm alive. At least I think I am. When I woke up, the altar was gone. The clearing was empty, the carvings erased as though they'd never existed. Even the air felt different, lighter, less oppressive. But I'm not the same. My hands tremble as I write this, my skin pale and cold to the touch. I feel disconnected, like my body is a shell and I'm only partially inside it. The whispers are gone, but their absence feels like a void, an empty space that shouldn't be there. I've reached the edge of the forest. The spirals led me to a massive stone archway, its surface covered in carvings so intricate they seemed alive. The air here is different, clean, almost electric. The forest is furious. The shadows have surrounded me, their forms pressing against the boundary of the archway. I can feel their hatred, their desperation. The whispers have turned into a scream, a single word repeated over and over: stay. I stepped through the archway. Journal entry, dawn, day 18. I'm free. The forest is behind me now, its towering trees reduced to a distant, impenetrable wall of green. The sky is brighter than I remember, the air warm and fresh. But something is wrong. My body feels heavy, my movement sluggish. My reflection in a stream showed a face I barely recognized, pale, gaunt, and hollow-eyed. The forest didn't let me go unmarked. Journal entry, afternoon, day 18. I've tried calling for help, but my voice doesn't carry. The wilderness beyond the forest is silent, too quiet. I found a road, cracked and overgrown, but it led me to an abandoned ranger station. Inside there was a single desk with a notebook lying open. The last entry was dated years ago, but the handwriting was mine. The forest never forgets. It always takes its due. Journal entry, evening, day 18. I've read the notebook over and over, trying to make sense of it. The handwriting is mine, the phrasing eerily similar to what I've written in this journal, but I don't remember writing it. The entries describe a journey like mine, getting lost in the forest, finding the spirals, the altar, the shadows. But there's more. One entry stands out, dated just a few days ago. You escaped, but you didn't leave. The forest is in you now. You are its keeper, its voice in the outside world. The cycle must continue. I threw the notebook across the room, but its words stayed with me. Journal entry, day 19. The whispers are back. I thought I was free, but I can feel the forest in my mind, its presence like a shadow I can't shake. It's subtle, a quiet hum at the edges of my thoughts, growing louder the farther I move from the tree line. This morning I tried walking toward the nearest town. I made it a mile before I collapsed, my body racked with pain. It felt like the forest itself was pulling me back. I don't think I meant to leave. Journal entry, day 20. I woke up outside the ranger station, though I don't remember going back. My journal was open beside me, the last few pages filled with writing I don't remember putting there. The words are erratic, fragmented, but the message is clear. The forest is hungry. The cycle must continue. Journal entry, day 21. I've started seeing them again. The shadows, they're faint, barely visible in the daylight, but they're there, watching, waiting. Every time I close my eyes, I see the spirals, the altar, the faces in the trees. The forest isn't done with me. It never will be. Journal entry, day 22. I understand now. The forest let me leave, but only because I'm part of it now. The keeper isn't just a prisoner. It's a recruiter. The whispers are clearer than ever, their meaning impossible to ignore. I've been chosen to bring others to the forest, to continue the cycle. It's already started. This morning I found a hiker at the edge of the forest, a young woman, her pack loaded with gear and her eyes filled with excitement. She asked if I knew the best trails to take, if I'd ever heard of a hidden waterfall deep in the woods. I wanted to warn her, to tell her to turn back. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, I smiled and told her I'd heard of it, that it was beautiful and worth the trek. As she disappeared into the trees, the whispers grew louder, almost approving. Journal entry, day 30. I can feel the forest calling me back. The spirals appear in my dreams, guiding me to places I don't recognize but somehow know are real. The shadows follow me everywhere, silent and patient. The forest isn't just a place. It's alive, ancient and insatiable. It's part of me now, and I am part of it. The cycle must continue. Final entry. If you find this journal, burn it, don't read it, don't follow the spirals, and whatever you do, don't go into the forest.